couple of little things, no biggie. I do have a schedule for when we're going to start. I'd like to start on time, but I know obviously that there is life outside of this classroom. There's traffic right out there. So try to get here as soon as you can. I will wait a few minutes every day to start the class, but I won't wait a half an hour. You'll just have to catch up. It's not that the doors are going to be closed on you. The doors will be open and you can walk in. I'm also not going to chase you. Every day you'll have a sign-in card or sign-in piece of paper where you can sign into the class so that the school can keep track of your hours. By law, you can only miss 8 hours. If you're going to miss more than 8 hours, then you have to get together with the school so that you can make up the hours that you over the 8 hours that you're going to miss. And last thing, which is really simple, we all have a cell phone. I would really appreciate it if you don't have to turn it off. Again, there's life outside of the classroom. Do put it in silent or vibration. And take your calls if you have to, but walk out of the classroom. You don't have to tell me you need to take it, just go. If that's okay with you, so that we don't disturb everybody else. Any questions so far about the class or anything else? Everybody has, I assume, the 36th edition of Florida Real Estate Principles, Practices, and Law. That is the recognized textbook in order to be able to pass not only the class but the state exam. Our schedule is very very intense. You're going to have to invest, in addition to the money that you already have investing in the school with money. You're going to have to invest the time. Real estate is a language all in its own. If you're not in a related field like architecture, engineering, construction, real estate, of course, appraisal, if you're not in one of those fields, because it's not your primary source, you're going to find that this is a language in its own. So you're going to have to read the book. The state license is not one that is easily passable without reading the book. By the same token, as I told some people before every one of you got here, we have over 500,000 real estate licensees in the state of Florida. So that kind of tells you that if they did it, obviously you can do it. Everybody can do it. My motto, as I told you before, failure is not an option, okay? And by that I mean put the time in, okay? I don't mind interruptions. If you don't understand something I said, raise your hand. This is a very small class. Don't be afraid, don't be bashful. Somebody else may have the same doubt that you do. So you might not only be helping yourself, but you might be helping others around you. If you're still bashful or you're afraid that you might sound not intelligent, see me during the break. I'm always here. I'm here a few minutes before the class. I'll stay as long as you need after the class, and I'm always here during the break. So if you don't want to ask a question or if you have a doubt, do it during class or before, during, or after. Your choice. We meet every day, like I said, at 6 to 10 on Tuesday and Thursday, Saturdays 8 to 4. We're going to cover approximately a chapter and a half every Tuesday and Thursday, and we're going to cover between 3 and 4 chapters on Saturday. Sir?
Oh, excuse me, 1.5 chapter?
1.5 chapters Tuesday and 1.5 chapters on Thursday.
It's going to be 3.
And then 3 chapters, 3 to 4 chapters on Saturday. And the reason for that is very simple. On the last Saturday, which is March 30th, I'd like to have a review in the morning, an exam review in the morning, all morning. Spend 3-4 hours doing that. Go to lunch, and then come back and take a 3-hour final exam. Now, unfortunately, there is no homework, so I'm not going to tell you do this for tomorrow. There is no other exam other than your final exam. So you are responsible for that last exam. Again, we're going to cover Sometimes we may cover more than two. What I'd like to do is leave that last Saturday alone. I'd like to finish all the material, and we're going to cover all the material. My plan is not to skip anything. I have never done one of these, well, you read this chapter on your own. You don't. We do it in class. Every chapter, every page. Okay? I'm not going to read the pages for you. I would insult your intelligence if I did that. But I will cover the main points of every chapter in the book. There's approximately 500 pages, so you got a lot of material to cover. If I finish, and we should finish the 20th chapter the Thursday before the exam, then we have Saturday to review and Saturday afternoon on the 30th to take the final exam. The state says that every classroom hour is 50 minutes, not 60 but 50. You're allowed to take a 10-minute break every hour. I'd like your indulgence in not doing that. I'm still going to give you the time allotted. But what I'd like to do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, give you a half-hour break in the middle. That way you can go to the corner if you need some coffee or something. I saw that there's really nothing in this little center. So you might have to walk or drive. Gives you a half an hour to do that. And we're still going to cover the 50-minute hours that are required by law. So rather than take 10 minutes every hour and then it's 10, 12, 15, 20, because people don't arrive, I'd like to give you just one break on on Tuesday and Thursday. On Saturdays, we'll have two breaks. We'll have a morning break, again, half an hour long, and an afternoon break, also a half an hour long, and obviously we'll have a lunch break as well. That, believe me, it covers the 400 instructional minutes that we have to cover every hour, every Saturday. Okay? I will ask the school to make 12, 15 copies so that you have the schedule. It doesn't say what chapters were covered, but it does say 1.5 chapters every Tuesday and Thursday, and three chapters every Saturday. That should put us on chapter 20th on that last Thursday, if I counted correctly. Did I? You've been marking it. More or less?
Oh, I think it's going to be less.
Good. Yeah. Less than 20?
Yeah.
Okay, I have I have 8 sessions of 1.5 chapters. That gives me 12. And I have 3 sessions, because we actually have 4. 3 sessions of 3 chapters of each, which is 9. That gives me 21. And the book only has 20 chapters. But again, my math is, it's volatile. I didn't have a calculator when I did that, so it doesn't matter. I'm still going to try to cover the entire book by that Thursday. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Let's see. This is we're going to start on chapter 1 of chapter 36. Let me put this in the full page. There we go. Okay. Let's go to page number 1, please. And on page number 1, and this is true for every chapter, you'll find what they call the overview of the chapter. And what essentially says is that when you complete reading this chapter, you should be able to do every one of these things in here. For this chapter, you should be able to define the real estate definition of a farm area. You should be able to distinguish between the 5 major sales specialties. Define business opportunity brokerage. Define absentee owner. Define USPAP, which is the Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practice. You don't have to copy it right now. It's in your book. Distinguish among CMA, which is a market analysis, or a BPO, which is a broker price opinion. You should be able to define dedication, and lastly, you should be able to distinguish among the 3 categories of residential construction. You should be able to do once you read the entire manual. Now, every chapter also has key terms. I would like to invite you to read in every chapter the key terms. Now, the key terms you'll find at the end of the book are glossary of terms. And every one of these terms is covered in the back of the book with with a long definition. In other words, a sentence type definition rather than just a single word, because they're all terms. They, believe it or not, might help you to pass the exam, because they are terms that we use every day. So please help yourself in reading those. Now, in an introduction to real estate business, essentially, let's discuss what the real estate business is. And it says, it is the industry or occupation whose activities involve real property transactions handled by real estate professionals. That's in a now, the real estate business includes 5 or 6 major areas. They are the real estate brokerage. What is real estate brokerage? Essentially, it's a real estate office. We broker, we put together buyers and sellers, tenants and owners. Property management, which is the management of an absentee owner, or the management of the property that the owner does not or cannot take care of themselves for a fee. You need a real estate license in order to do that. By the way, let me just start by saying, or preempt everything by saying, you do not need a real estate license to buy or sell or manage your own property.
Exactly.
There's no law that says that you need any kind of license to buy or sell for yourself, rent it, do whatever you want. If you're going to do it for others as a favor, you don't need a license. If you're going to get paid in any which way, whether it's dinner, a bottle of wine, or moolah, you need a real estate license. So if you're going to do it for others, you need a license. If you're going to do it for yourself, you need nothing. Subdivision and development, that's where you buy a large parcel, or an investor buys a large parcel and then subdivides it into whether it's townhouses or condominiums or single-family homes. There are 2 or 3 areas to that in itself. There's the appraisal part. Appraisal is an estimate of value done by a professional who is licensed. There is the Appraisal Institute. It is a separate real estate license from a real estate license. So you cannot do an appraisal for others for compensation. There are some definitions that we'll cover, unless you have an appraisal license as well as a real estate license. You have financing and you have counseling. Now, counseling is a tricky one. If you've ever been associated with, or maybe you bought your home and you had a real estate licensee help you, you might have noticed that we are counselors. We counsel, sometimes we're marriage counselors, believe it or not, although we don't like to be. We are counselors. We are professionals. The license that you're about to receive once you pass this course and the state exam, you are considered a professional. It doesn't matter if you've never made a transaction in your life. You are still considered a professional. The downside to that was the good side. The downside to that is that because you are a professional, you can get sued because you are a professional. So the things that you can do on your own, for yourself, nobody governs. Once you have this little card that says you're a professional, now you have to watch what you do. 98% of this book is more of what you cannot do or what you should not do. Every license, whether it's a real estate license or a mortgage broker or a general contractor or an architect or engineer or a doctor or a lawyer, their laws are based to protect the public. Ours is no different. We are professionals in protecting the public. That's what we're really good at. That's what we learn. That's what the state wants you to know. The state is not going to teach you how to sell. That has to be here. And maybe that's her job back there, the broker. This course is not going to teach you to sell. This course is not going to teach you how to use the multiple listing service. That's your broker.